Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to Workstation Wellness. Sit well, move well, feel well. My name is Michael Stone, and I'm the founder and CEO of Holistic Services Group, and I'm delighted to introduce you to your facilitator for today's session, Marjorie Hellman. Not only is Marjorie an occupational therapist, but she's also a Feldenkrais practitioner and yoga and meditation teacher. With this unique combination of skills, she's a highly acclaimed facilitator and presenter with over 20 years experience in workplace ergonomics consulting, including workstation assessments, wellbeing workshops, and conference presentations. Her extensive experience in occupational rehabilitation and injury management means that she understands the importance of promoting healthy habits of body and mind. As you'll soon experience yourself, she empowers individuals to restore freedom of movement and encourages self-awareness and well-being. You are in for a real treat. Enjoy. Over to you, Marjorie.
Yep. Thank you, Michael. So I'm going to talk you through a variety of ways of becoming aware of your body and also becoming aware of your workstation. So we're going to do some things sitting in the chair and then coming to the workstation and thinking and feeling a little bit about how you're set up. Because what I've found over the years is setting up the hardware, which is your chair, your desk, and your monitor to the right heights and the right angles is very important. But equally as important is having some awareness of your body and how you can adjust your body and how you can feel more comfortable. So if you are sitting near your workstation, that's great. What you might like to do now is just turn and face your, well, you're probably facing your monitor anyway, but what you can pull your chair a little bit away because we're going to just leave the workstation now and become aware of our bodies and do what we call a little body scan. So this is also very relaxing, and I think you'll enjoy the experience apart from maybe learning a few things. So what I want you to do, as I said, is like push your chair a little bit away from your desk and have your feet flat on the floor. And I want you to close your eyes now, because what we're doing is we're going to sense the body. You can open your eyes and look at me if you need to. But one of the things about learning about how to feel your body, its habits, its tensions, and how you can support it is to be more aware of its feeling sense, so what we call kinesthesia. So if you close your eyes, as I hope you're doing right now, you can start to sense your body more. So I've got my hands just resting on my thighs, and I want you to now close your eyes if you haven't already. And start to sense, we're going to start from the ground up. Feel your feet. So notice how you've positioned your feet. And I want you to consciously place them hip width apart and flat on the floor. And notice, how does this feel? Can you sense the bottoms of your feet? You know, because we all have habits, and often we don't sit like this. We might have our legs tucked under. So notice what your habit is as I bring you into this place of feet flat on the floor, hip width apart. What does this feel like? Does it feel like it supports your body in some way? And now people always ask me, do I have to sit this way all the time? And I say, no, you don't have to sit this way all the time, but just be aware of it like a home place. So sense your feet and sense the ground supporting your feet. And then bring your attention to the next place where your body is supported, which is your sit bones. So your bum, and beneath your bum muscles or your glutes are some bones. So can you feel that you're sitting on these sit bones? And often we're not. So what would you have to do to become more on top of your sit bones? Now, maybe you've never thought about this before. That's fine. Just notice, can you feel those bones? And are you shifted a little bit to one side? So try just shifting your weight a little bit from one sit bone to the other, because often we sit with the weight in one sit bone and then we kind of collapse. So what I want you to do is just shift your weight a little bit to the right sit bone and a little bit to the left sit bone. Maybe one feels really familiar. And then just come to the center. So you're kind of balanced and you have a sense of being on your sit bones. Now, one thing about sitting on the sit bones is often if we have a habit of slumping. So go ahead and slump. Just really have bad posture. Go ahead and let yourself feel what happens. And then the sit bones, we're not really on top of them. They're kind of tucked underneath. And then if we come onto the sit bones, we automatically feel a bit taller. So try that a few times, kind of slump. And it doesn't feel very good. You can't breathe very well. And if you come onto your sit bones, you'll notice your spine lifts and opens. Okay, and then the other thing I want you to do is just from your hip joints, which was right here, just close your eye. Well, you can watch me once and then do this. Close your eyes as you shift your weight a little forward and back. And what we're doing here is trying to find neutral. So I'm just leaning a little forward and back and maybe noticing, am I breathing or holding my breath? So try breathing as you gently shift forward and back. And the idea here, again, is to find a neutral place. So you can stop shifting forward and back, and maybe you notice that you have a habit of being forward a lot or being back a lot. So where's your middle? Where's your neutral ground? And then closing your eyes again, sensing your feet, sensing your sit bones. And now bring your attention into your upper body. So this is the area that gets particularly tense and stressed when we're working at a computer. So notice your shoulders. Do they feel tense? Maybe bring your shoulders a little bit up. Creep them up towards your ears. So you can open your eyes, and then I want you to close your eyes and do this. Just bring your shoulders a little up and down, because remember, I want you to feel your body. Okay, so if the shoulders are pulled up, you'll notice there's a certain level of tension physically, but maybe that tension spreads throughout your whole body. And as you slide the shoulders down, notice what happens. So do that a few times. Notice, are you breathing? So as you repeat this movement a few times, maybe think about breathing in and then breathing out. Breathing in as your shoulders hunch up, and breathing out as they slide down. So you're kind of feeling like you're letting go of tension. Now just close your eyes again and feel, how's your body? Has something shifted a little bit? Perhaps you're more aware of something. Maybe just more aware of your feet and your sit bones, and how being aware of this grounding of your body on the chair, on the floor, supports your upper body. Now, one more thing before we go and have a look at the workstation is to think about the position of your head. The head is heavy. Did you ever think about the fact that you've got this very heavy head that you're trying to hold up against gravity all day long, right? So it's no wonder that we end up like this. So this area here helps support your head. So place your hand on the center of your chest, okay? And then just start to collapse or draw your chest down, like you're really not having a great day and you're feeling the weight of the world compressing your head. And you'll notice that your head goes forward like mine. Okay, so you can imagine if we're like this all the time, it's not surprising we have tension in the shoulders and the neck. So with your hand on your chest, just lift your chest like you wanted to lift it up towards the ceiling a little bit. And you'll notice automatically your body comes out of that slump and the head balances a little better. Just try that a few times. You need to let your spine move a little bit here. And if you've got lower back pain or something and this doesn't feel comfortable, just imagine it. So slumping, letting the head come forward, have bad posture. So you might turn now to look at your monitor. Okay, so this is the typical posture that we often find ourselves in. And you can see why it's creating a lot of strain. My neck's forward, shoulders are forward. So fixing your posture takes a little bit of time and a little bit of patience. So maybe just pick one thing. If something kind of piqued your interest there. Maybe it's feeling your sit bones. It's a good place to start, feeling this lift. So what we're going to do now is look at all of this in relation to the workstation. And this is just a real taster that I'm going to be going through things a little bit more quickly than I would in a full webinar. So the basic idea here is to start with your chair. So most people nowadays, except if you're working from home, you may not have a height adjustable chair. But if you had a height adjustable chair, it's good to know that you can adjust the height of your chair. Surprisingly, when I go around to offices, a lot of people forget that. And what you want to do is adjust the height of your chair so that when you are at your workstation, your elbows are about 90 degrees or a little bit more, because this means that your shoulders are relaxed. So what you could do now is, this is the most common thing I find, is that people have their chairs low. So if you can, easily lower your chair. And then notice what happens especially if you're small, or even if you're tall too, and you lower your chair, what happens in your shoulders? So the shoulders have to pull up. So that's where adjusting the height of your chair is going to make you feel a bit better. So go ahead, if you can, adjust your chair. And maybe this is something that you just noticed, that your chair is quite low, and that is making your shoulders feel quite tense. So now, if you've got that sort of angle here, I could go through adjusting the chair, but that can take a lot of time. But basically, you want this to be supporting the curve of your lower back. Now, what can happen is, if you're small and you lift your chair up, you might need something to put under your feet, okay? If you're tall, everything needs to come up. Your chair, your desk, and this is where it can be helpful to have someone come have a look. People that are quite tall often need their workstation adjusted with the help of someone. So the next very general principle to think about in terms of setting up your workstation is the monitor height, right? If the monitor is too low and we're looking at the monitor all the time, where our eyes are going to go down and the head is going to pull forward. So have a look and a little think about where your monitor is. And the ergonomic studies show that the best place, so ergonomics is just about adjusting your equipment to your body. The best place is to have your eyes resting at about the top third of the screen. So if you can adjust that, or thinking about it for later. So here are my eyes here, and look what's happened to my head. You can think about this for yourself. Often people are working with their monitor low and it's making everything collapse, like we just did in the chair earlier. So just the very basic things to think about are the height of the chair, the height of the monitor. There's lots of other details to consider, but just for the purpose of this half-hour workshop, those are some things that you can keep in mind, either looking at now or when you go back to your workstation. Now we're going to come back to the body again, and we're going to do a little bit of movement. So you might like to come a little bit away from the back of your chair so that you can move a bit. But if that's not comfortable, just do whatever you need to do. And close your eyes again and just notice some of the things that we noticed before. Your feet flat on the floor. Can you sense your sit bones again? Maybe that's easier to notice. And maybe your shoulders. Can you let your shoulders sink down a little bit? And take your attention to your breath, because this is a really important part of all of this, is the way that we breathe can make us feel more calm, or it can make us feel more tense. And there's a very close relationship between posture and breathing and our mood, right? So we all know that we feel better, like if you go exercise, you go to yoga, go to Pilates or something, and you come out, you can breathe easier. But when we come to our workstation and we're stressed, we can fall back into the habit quite easily. So as you close your eyes and start to notice your breath, just notice The feeling in your body when you breathe in and out. Is your belly relaxing and breathing? What's your chest doing? And the most common thing, which is partly because of the way we've set up our workstation, or because we've got something going on in the shape of our body, our posture, is to breathe with the upper chest muscles. So what I want you to do is bring your hand down around sort of the bottom of your ribs, your belly. And see if as you breathe, you can relax your belly. Often we have a habit of like breathing in and just holding the belly tight. But really the best thing you can do is as you inhale, just let your belly gently expand forwards and a little bit sideways. And as you breathe out, you'll feel your belly go back. So this is what we call diaphragmatic breathing. So close your eyes and do this a few more times. And as you breathe out, open your mouth and go. And really feel your belly drawing back. And so then you can inhale again and let it expand. As you exhale, sigh the breath out. So see if you can breathe out a little slower, particularly if you're feeling a bit wound up and stressed. Focusing on breathing out will instantly calm your nervous system down. So I want you to take 3 more breaths before we start to move a bit, and notice particularly breathing out. So opening the mouth helps to extend your exhale, and it instantly calms the system down. The other thing that this kind of breathing is doing is stopping us from using these muscles to breathe, right? Is when we breathe with the upper chest, you can have a look at me, okay? And this is very common. This is part of the fight or flight response, which most of us know is the stress response. So when we breathe, we go. So each time we breathe in, try that. After I've had you breathe down here, try this. Now, if you're doing this all day, you're going to get really tired and tense and uncomfortable. So you can see that the way this is set up, if your chair is too low or the desk is too high, or if you're very tall and you're slumping over to a desk that's too low, you cannot breathe well, the posture and the breath. So let's do some movement now, because this is really how people start to feel their body and their breath, is through movement. So what I want you to do is just do that little movement again. As you inhale, tense your shoulders now. And slowly breathe out, maybe sigh the breath out. You're all on mute, so nobody can hear you. Let your shoulders drop down. Do that a couple more times. And you can feel mentally the feeling as you tense your shoulders. You feel stressed, don't you? And as you drop them down, sort of more awake and calm. Now begin. This is one of my favorite little simple things to show people. Many people know this, but I want you to really do it slowly. This is a really good way to release tension in your shoulders at work. So you bring your shoulders up, and then you bring them back, and then down and forward. It's kind of like you're drawing a circle with the shoulder. So do that a few times, but with your eyes closed. You really can feel that you're letting your shoulder move freely. Your shoulder blade is sliding around your back. Maybe go the other direction. So if you want one little stretch or movement to take into your day, try doing this. Now, some people say, I hear grindy, crunchy noises. That's okay. That just means that your soft tissues are hydrating and things are sliding, and it's a good thing. Okay, this is a very safe movement. Now close your eyes again and notice how your shoulders feel. Notice how your breath is. Probably a little bit different. Now we're going to do a little bit more. We're going to do a couple more movements that involve more the whole body, the spine and the ribs. So what I want you to do is with your hands on your thighs, slide your right hand forward and your left hand back. So you're turning your whole body a little bit. And then slide your left hand a little forward and your right hand. So you can look at me, but then close your eyes and feel what your body's doing. So the hand sliding forward is bringing the shoulder forward, the other shoulder is going back, and you're turning. So do this in an easy, light way a few times. Turning your head to look over the shoulder that's moving back. And sensing your whole body now, the spine turning. Are you breathing? Go a couple more times. If you want, you can turn your head opposite. So try turning your head to look over the shoulder that's going forward, if that feels okay on your neck. So feel your body waking up, becoming more alive. And there's pulling and stretching, and that's all so good. Movement is really one of the most important things that we can bring into our daily life. So stop now, close your eyes, notice your breath. So probably your breath is a little bit less upper chest maybe, or you're just aware of that pattern. Your shoulders are soft. Now the next movement that we're going to do is something that if you've done yoga before, a lot of people do this, or even Pilates, is this kind of rounding of the back. So from a sitting up position, let your chin drop down, slide your hands forward, and feel your back move towards the back of your chair. And then go the opposite direction. Feel that lifting in your chest, your shoulders going back, and there's an arch. Maybe put your hand in your lower back here. And as you look down, let your lower back round towards the back of the chair. And as you start to lift your chest, look up. Gently with your neck, feel your spine. Do this a few more times. Notice, are you breathing? And notice maybe the place where you can feel the movement coming from is your pelvis. So put your hands on the top of your pelvis like a bowl and let it move back and forth. As you round, the bowl tips back. And as your spine opens, the bowl tips forward. Now, what we're trying to do here again is to find neutral. So we don't want to sit like this all the time. And sometimes we overdo it and we really arch the back. So we want to find neutral. So can you make that movement a little smaller and smaller until you feel neutral? Close your eyes and really feel neutral. After doing the movements, it's easier to feel neutral. Neutral's about your center. So a bit of engagement in your core. So we talk a lot about the core being engaged. We want the core to be engaged, but we don't want the belly to be held tight. We want to breathe there. Notice your breath in your belly. And then turn to face your, you're facing your computer, I'm not, but look, bring this posture to your computer now. Close your eyes. Don't look at the screen. But just think about one or two things that you've learned from this experience. Maybe it's just to let your shoulders drop a little bit more. Maybe it's the way that you're breathing. And if you want to explore that a little bit more, try taking up yoga or Tai Chi or some meditation so that you can learn that. Because honestly, we spend more time, unfortunately, at the computer than we do doing leisure or even sleeping sometimes. So it's really important to have that sense of being able to find your center, relax your shoulders. Maybe you need a footrest if you're coming back. Now, I thought I'd spend the last few minutes doing a few things in standing, because sitting in and of itself, if we do it too much, it's not great. And there's, nothing we can do to avoid that. It's just the way the body is when we sit. So let's come up, and I'll show you. It's a really nice habit to get into when you come up, and you should be getting up regularly. People always ask me, how often should I get up? Shouldn't be sitting for more than an hour without standing up and moving and stretching, even for a minute or two. So what I want you to do as you stand up now is feel it's easier to stack the spine. When we sit, everything tends to kind of go into that hunched position. So that's why standing desks are so popular. Automatically, we stand up better. What I want you to do is place your hands on your shoulders and just circle around like this. So you're getting this movement through the shoulder, the chest is opening. If you feel like that movement's a little self-conscious and you wouldn't necessarily do that at work, you can just stand up and just do this one. Go the other direction. Okay, and now I'm going to show you a little sequence that's very easy to remember. You might even just remember part of this. You're going to interlace your hands together and lift them up to about chest height, and then turn your palms away from you, and then feel that stretch between your shoulder blades or your upper back. And now take your arms up in the air like that, and slowly bring them down. So if you have a shoulder issue, just don't make the movement so large, or you can just adapt. Bring your arms behind your back and just kind of feel your chest opening. So this is the opposite of that. So this, even if you stand up from your desk and just interlace your hands or pull your shoulders back and take a few breaths. So we might do this a few times. So get into a bit of a flow. I want you to notice all of these things we've been experiencing: the breath, the spine moving, the movement through the shoulders. Okay, so we'll do about 3 of these and then we'll finish up. But take some time to enjoy this. Interlace your hands together. Start to breathe in. And then as you breathe out, push your hands forward, bring your chin down, feel that whole upper part of your back stretch. Now take your arms up as you inhale, and breathe out nice and slow as your arms float down. Interlace your hands together, squeeze your shoulder blades, and take a breath in. And then as you come out, just do this. Okay, we'll do this one more time, but just feel how your shoulders now are more fluid and soft. And that kind of reflects back in how you feel in your mind, your level of alertness, your awareness, your sense of well-being. So breathing in. One more time, really rounding the upper back. And take the air in. Now I'm going to add a movement in here. It's just a little bit of side bending. This is a very nice movement that we don't do in everyday life much, and the spine really likes it. So just that you might stand up from your workstation and just do this a few times. Feels really good, and it's a very kind of pattern that the body likes because it's a bit unusual. Float the arms down and interlace. Now close your eyes and just breathe right down into the belly. As you exhale slowly. Okay, and then circle around. So come back to your chair. We're finishing off in a minute, but maybe just close your eyes now and sense. Just sense what you notice, because I'm sure that you've noticed something, and there's some little thing that you can kind of take with you as you move back into your day. And maybe it's something about how your chair is adjusted, your monitor is adjusted, something about awareness of your posture, the feeling of being stacked up in your spine. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and there'll be an opportunity for you to put some comments into the chat box. If you have any feedback for us, we're always interested in hearing what you enjoyed, maybe something we can do a bit differently if you're interested in that. So I'll hand over to Michael now, and he's going to close the session off. So.
Thank you so much, Marjorie. That was fantastic. I'm feeling super relaxed, but very present and aware at the same time. Thank you so much. And as Marjorie said, today's session was just a taster of what we provide in our complete 1-hour workshop. And we've got a special offer for you, which is valid for bookings made up until the end of June. So book a 1-hour online ergonomics workshop, and you'll get 3 hours of on-site massages for free, or you can also get a free 1-hour meditation session, either on-site or online. So for those of you who may not be aware, we also provide resilience workshops, nutrition sessions, team building, and much more. So just check out our website, holisticservices.com.au, and you can also follow us on the usual social media platforms. We've got a link to our LinkedIn page in the chat box, Facebook, we're at Holistic Services Group, and Twitter at HSG Australia. So thank you again for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.